when you said uterus and vagina, I know that like social media has been talking about I don't remember the trans woman's name, but she made a statement and she said womanhood and periods do not belong to cisgendered women. You do not own womanhood. What do you think about that?
Hello, welcome back to today's Crystal's Light. And I'm Crystal. And here we're going to be shining wisdom, giving advice on experiencing things that we have had in our life. And today's guest is my good friend for like over 20 years. My best friend for over 20 years, Takar. And me and Takar met in college. And I want her to tell y'all how she got to like how we met and the inspiring story to me of like how she got there. Do you remember us talking about it and like what you said?
Um, I mean, I remember, why how I ended up going to Hines and why I even was considered college. So hey everybody. Yes, like Crystal said, we met in college. But to be honest with you, I never really considered college as a real option. I just don't even think I thought about it because my parents didn't go to college. I didn't have anybody really in my direct line of communication that went to college. So it was just never anything that I thought about until um, my best friend from high school, Janine, she started doing like going to the high school on Saturdays to take the test to like the SATs, I think. And I was like, why is she taking that? What's she doing? Um, and so, it started making me think, well, my God, we're about to graduate and she's gonna go off to another state, which she did. She ended up going to Howard. And I'm just gonna be here like doing nothing, not growing or anything. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe college should be a thing that I think about and consider. And kind of at the same time, my grandma started talking to me about Hines, which is where I met Crystal, which is it's in Raymond, Mississippi. And so she started sending me information. And I was like, okay. Um, and they had a campus. My grades were not the best. I hadn't taken the SATs, but they had, it was a community college, so you could go there. You could take a little pre-test to get in, which I did do, and got well. Didn't know anything about financial aid, but it was a community college. So actually, the summer before I was to start, myself and my grandmother saved up the money. Like it's about to make me cry. Um, so I worked all summer long and my grandma and we kept money in this like little thing that she used to keep her checks in, and we would add money to it every week. Wow, I hadn't thought about this in a long time, but we would add money to it every week. And when it came time to go to college, I did have all the money that I needed. Um, But I went and they were like, "Oh, well, fill out the FAFSA." And this was literally like 2 or 3 days before school started. I had already paid half of the tuition. Um, but they were like, "Fill out the FAFSA." And I ended up getting financial aid and I got to keep the other portion of the money that we had saved. Um, wow. Like I really hadn't thought about that in a long time. Um, so I also ended up becoming an RA, which is actually directly how I met Crystal. An RA was a resident advisor, and Crystal, give me a minute.
Yep. You don't have to. I mean, you fine.
I had totally forgot that my grandmother did that for me.
So this was your grandma from Mississippi that
No,
you.
my grandma here, my
Oh,
granny. And I think I'm feeling so bad because right now she's, um, actually you can play this if you want, but she's kind of going through and um, I don't think that I've given her as much attention as I should. And I think in that moment, as I was talking about that, I realized that I owe her much more than I've been giving her.
but I think she still knows though. Like it's not a reflection of how you feel or how much you care about her. I like don't think that if that's a thought. Um, but also the fact that you realized it, you now can make like an immediate change if that's what you want.
Yes. Um, wow, I was not expecting that. Um, so anyway, going, what were
You
you
don't have to rush through it or whatever. You take as much time as you need to like feel it and experience whatever. Like if you want to take a break or whatever, we can do that too.
No, I think I'm okay. Yeah, I think I'm okay. I think like it just literally as I was talking, it just hit me like, wow, what a sacrifice she made for me.
Was she working at the time when she was
Um, she was getting checks and she was getting checks like I think I don't know if it was like disability or like her pension or something like that. So it was not like she was just like had a boatload of money. Uh, but back to the RA story. So I also became an RA again, resident advisor, and my first semester of doing it, I was I loved it and they gave me an opportunity to interview the next group of RAs that were going to come in and start the next year, I think. Um, and so Crystal was in that group. Um, and so that is a funny story in itself because when we were, it was like, I don't know, maybe 10 people, 10 other people who were in the room with us, like who wanted to be RAs, and there were myself and someone else, I think, like asking questions. And after it was all over with, I actually did not recommend Crystal because she was quiet. Like she didn't she talked a little bit, but she wasn't very like
very
I don't know,
vocal. Like my
very
energy
vocal.
probably was not high energy.
Right. Didn't seem very outgoing. But thank God she ended up becoming an RA and we ended up being an RA in the same hall. And so we just kind of immediately became friends like really fast. And we've been friends ever since.
Yep, we sure have. We were RAs, and during that time, like to me, that was like college, freshman year of college. And I don't know if things are still the same or if they are different, but it's kind of like that was like one of the best moments of my life. Like that was a time period I would never forget. Like we played cards all
Oh my
day.
God. That
We
was
broke
so much
all
fun.
kind of rules. Uh
Ooh.
we outside doing the most just dangerous stuff you should not do today. So we can tell you what not to do from
Right,
all of those
absolutely.
things.
Um, and we never got in trouble though.
I
I did get
did.
in trouble for my mouth. Me and Miss, was her name Miss Bonita? Ooh, she and I would always be going back and forth. I don't know who I thought I was. But yeah, like it was, and I think at the time, when you're in it, you don't realize how good you really have it, And
Yep.
I look back on that and I also say that that was like my most special moment. Like as far as college goes, like I didn't have bills, school was fairly easy. Like we weren't there all day long.
Yep.
It just was a good time.
Yep.
It really
And
was.
RA assistant, that's a job, and your job is just to talk to people, be nosy, be in other people's business.
Hmm.
Like that was your job. Like you don't have to worry about real life because this is your real life. You don't have to worry about adulting because this is all you got to worry about.
Right, right.
And
I don't think I appreciated that. Again, I don't think you ever truly appreciate things the way you should until you're out of it and things are no longer that way. Um, yeah, that was a good time. It really was. It was.
yeah,
Um,
so
what were
no, I
you
was
gonna
just gonna
say?
say, are there other people that you still talk to from like college?
Um, so I mean, as far as like friends, I'm friends with some people on Facebook, like BJ, who I had a huge crush on. He and I are friends on Facebook. Um, Larry, which I didn't go to school with him. I didn't go to Hines with him. I After Hines, I went on to a university, and that's where I met Larry. But and I am still friends with him. Um, and of course Janine, who she's from high school, but yeah, I mean, and those friendships have lasted like she said, 20 plus years. So yeah, it was a good time. The best time, actually.
Yeah, so for me, it's like the moral of like one of the points of that story is like, one, you never know. Like you never know where life is gonna take you. And when it does, even if it's because you were saying it was like last minute. So even if it's last
Very.
minute, like anything can still happen. So what people don't know is that it was last minute for you to go to that college, but right now you have a master's degree.
I do. That
Like
is so funny. And I did that at the most um inconvenient time, right? Because I had graduated and I was out of school for what since 2004, 2005, and I started again in 2021, right? No, 2020. Yeah, I think it was 2020. Um so I had been out of school for 15 years, and it was just me that whole time. Like I was a single person, no kid, just working and coming home and doing my thing, right? Plenty of time to get a master's degree, but I wait until I have a kid, a real job, a real house, like all the things. And but it worked out well. I did the program online. I did most of my studying and my schoolwork in the evenings once my daughter would go to bed, and on the weekends when she would be with her dad. So yeah, and I finished in December. So yay. I know. Who would have thought? Not me.
yeah, and that's another lesson too. Is like it doesn't if it's something you want to do, it doesn't matter how long the gap
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
or what the expectation is. Like, people may be like, "Oh, I should have done it when I was younger." There's no time frame on anything. There's no age limit on anything. You can do it whenever you want to. You get to choose and make the decision on when you want to do something.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I think my mindset also allowed me to be very serious about it, right? Because I was taking time away from my life, my child, my XYZ to get this thing done. And so I really did give it my all because like I appreciated the process and the experience so much more than I did, undergrad. And I was serious, like, let's get it done. Let's do what we're supposed to do. Like I'm not turning nothing in late. I want all A's. So we can just be done. And that's what I did.
Okay. So, when you went to undergrad at first, like you said,
Ugh, girl. I was just there, like having a
Yeah.
good time.
That's how I feel too. I feel like I was just there. I wasn't even like trying my hardest. I was just like, let me at least get enough to pass the class. And that's all
Right,
I was trying to
exactly,
do.
exactly. And I think also like not that GPA is like all that, but it does matter. And again, these are all things that I did not think about. I did not consider. Actually, that makes me think about credit, right? Because credit is another thing that as a young person, like you legit just don't know how it could affect you. Um, in the future things that you want to do, right? So credit was also another thing, and we're totally changing the topic, but that was another thing that when I could get credit cards, like I turned 18 before I got out of high school, and actually that was our senior year. We wanted to do senior pictures and wanted to go to, I think, like the Genuine concert or something. How about me and Janine went and got all the credit cards? Okay, all of them. J.C. Penney, Sears,
Girl,
it, uh,
just
Carson Perry Scott, just all of them. Okay,
like living it up, making it rain everywhere.
and so had new fits for the pictures, new fits for the concert, just doing the most. Like I remember going to J.C. Penney using my credit card to get my hair done at the J.C. Penney salon, and again, this affected me, for a good while because I wasn't paying on those cards. Like, and again, my mom, she wasn't into credit and stuff like that either. Whereas Janine's parents very much understood. They saw them statements come in and they were like, ma'am, pay all of this and then chop them up. Okay. Whereas I was like, oh, I don't know, they just done disappeared or something. Indeed, they
Exactly.
did not. Um,
But you know what? Just thinking about it. Okay, so I feel like I'm kind of the opposite. Like my dad was just so on top of me and everything I did. There's no way I would have been able to one go to JC Penney's without them or without them knowing or have anything come in the mail or breathe without permission. So I don't think I would have been able to get away with it. But I also feel like so I said that to say I've kind of been on the straight and narrow with my credit all my life. But when I think about it, people who had credit that was not like mine got all the things that I got. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, was it really worth it not having that fun and missing out on like, was it
Yes,
really
it
worth it?
was worth it. It was
No.
because again, if I could do it over again, I would not do any of those things. I really wouldn't because it took me a long time to get myself straight as far as my credit goes. Just out, and being honest, just probably in the last like, I'm 40, probably in the last like 5 or 6 years, I was only able to get like a real credit card. Um, so yeah, no. And then because I didn't know, I just kept adding on top of it and just not paying things the way that I should, like just not understanding the importance of being on time when you pay these your bills or whatever. Um, yeah, so that is another thing that I would say credit, like just be very mindful. It is good to have a little credit card when you are, 18 or whatever, for like emergencies, right? But not as like let's go live it up type of thing because it really does have a long-term um effect on the things that you're able to do in the future.
I don't know. I guess to me, I see it from a different perspective. I guess because what what I wanted, I just been able to go get with no issues. So to me, it's kind of like, well, if I want a car, I haven't had as many issues. But then I'm like, well, this person credit I know isn't that great, and they got a car, so we're really in the same boat. I'm not
You
thinking
kind
about
of
the
are
other stuff.
because you're what you were paying for a car note versus what I was paying for a car note, for cars that were basically, same, I was paying so much more in interest, right? So it may look like we're the same, but we are not.
I mean, I
Uh,
guess that is financially and up under that. I guess so, but I still just kind of feel like I just missed out on like being irresponsible. Like you can't get that time back of being irresponsible.
there is, I do think, right? Like there is a time that everybody probably should experience it. I mean, I feel like it's part of a growing pain to a certain extent, right? Like you are going to mess up. You are going to not do all the things right that should, but I think they are learning experiences and you take something from that, right? And so for me, um, I know what it cost me to screw up my credit like that. So Carrington will not do the same thing. I mean, she might actually, but I will do my best to teach her about credit literacy and financial literacy and all of that because but she's already a saver. Like she is tight with her money. But these are things that my mom just didn't have a good grasp on. And so you can't teach what you don't know. Um,
Yep, I 100% agree. And I also feel like regardless of what your situation is, have a brighter outlook on yourself. Like a lot of times we get in situations where we feel down and feel bad because like, oh, I wish I would have known, or if I would have been better off if this would have happened, or if that would happen. Like when I said, oh, I wanted to like, not be as responsible or something. Like me going around feeling bad for myself is not gonna get me anywhere. Like it's not gonna help me progress in life. Like you have to change your mindset to a positive mindset and focus more on what you can do or what is
mhm.
within your control instead of what happened to you and what you can't do. So and because it'll just hold you back and hold you down a lot.
Right. Right, exactly. And that can cover so many different things, right? Just showing yourself a little grace in general. Um, we do that for other people.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
should be able to do that for ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's actually been like one of my affirmations lately is to have grace for myself
Mm-hmm.
and to love myself more and to respect where I am and not be like, oh, I always need to work on something.
Uh-huh.
Because it's always gonna be something that I have to work on. So I'm perfect right now. There may be things I want to change, but in this moment right here, like I'm perfect. It is what it is. And when I was younger, I know I did not have that mindset because now I'm kind of like, well, people are like, I need to do something different. I should do this. I should do that. And I kind of don't care what they think. Like, it's taken me some time to get there, but
Mm-hmm.
now I am finally at the point where I'm kind of like this is life. You have to go through life. You have to experience stuff. You have to learn for yourself. And if other people teach you, you're not gonna learn. You're gonna miss out on some of the value things
Mm-hmm.
that will help make you who you are. That's kind of how I see it.
You know, it's interesting, right? Because sometimes there is something for going through the experience, right? But there's also something for looking at a situation and saying, you know what? I'm going to learn from their mistake and I'm going to try not to, you know, repeat that. I think there are times for both, right? Like, again, going back to kids, I think because I have a young kid, that's kind of where everything takes me back to. But um I can't and maybe this is something I need to be mindful of, but a lot of things I imagine I will be able to see and see Carrington doing before she does it because I've been there, right? And so I think, well, maybe you could speak to it, right? You have a daughter, she's an adult now, but some of the mistakes that she made, I'm sure you could see them happening before she made them, right? and you say, hey, girl, let's not do that. This might be a better method of doing X, Y, and Z, right? Because you just know what the end result is going to be, right?
Yes, that is true, but I also feel like it depends on the person. So like I honestly feel like for my daughter, I can tell her, maybe not now, but when she was younger, she had
Mm-hmm.
to experience things in order for her to be like, oh, okay, like, this is how it really is. When
Like,
I
oh,
was a
this really does
kid,
burn my hand. Like,
right, right. When I was a kid, you could tell me and I'm gonna believe you, because I believe everything that I was ever told. So I think it depends on the person, and yeah, and I think it depends on the situation. Because like the example that came to me is like, if I see somebody selling drugs and they get caught going to jail, I don't need to experience that to know that I don't want to do
whoop, there it is.
it. But I don't know. I think for me, there are a lot of other things that I feel like if it does not cause a lifetime effect, that learning and experiencing hands on is not the worst thing in the world. And getting burnt, you're going to heal. Put some little ointment on it, put some butter on it, and it will eventually even completely disappear. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of how I see it. But
So let's go back to what you said about believing everything that you were told. Where do you think that, like, do you think you were just raised that way, or because I was the opposite? I had questions for everything. Like, yeah, you're not gonna just tell me because I need to know all of the things. And that was an issue between my mother and I especially as a teenager, because why are you 20 questioning me and I done just told you, But she would answer the questions for the most
yeah,
part.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. So I'm confused how you kept asking questions. You must not, didn't get a pop after the first question.
No.
Yeah, see, that's the difference. Like, I knew early on that when it was like, don't question the elder, you do what I say do, and you can't question it or you gonna get in some type of trouble. Like, I knew that at an early age. So that made me know, well, do I want to get in trouble and still not get the question answered? Or do I want to be over here minding my business and living a good life? And I ain't gonna say I won't know any better. I'm just gonna believe what I'm told because that's gonna make my life easier. I don't want to do the hard stuff. Like, I don't want to do certain things that's gonna get me in trouble. I want to know how can I avoid getting in trouble, and avoid getting in trouble also means avoiding a lot of life experiences. For me as a young age, that's how I see it now. But I also feel like, that was my life and that was what I went through and it
Hmm.
worked for me.
Hmm.
But I agree that you should ask questions. That's how you become more knowledgeable. That's how you gain more wisdom. That's how you understand things.
I mean, yes, again, now that's something that, I think it was just my personality. It wouldn't just allow me to take it for what it was. And even today, it's still my personality, to be honest. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just interesting because you feel like you were kind of trained to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah, like I can still hear like my parents being like, "You're not gonna question me. I'm the adult. You a kid, you stay in the kid's place." And it's not even that I'm questioning your authority. It may be just I don't understand the situation. But I think
Right.
the parenting at that time, that was their mindset. Their mindset was more of, I'm the elder, I know what's right. I'm gonna do what I think I should do because I know better than you. I know, I've been through all this and I have your best interest in hand. That was their mindset,
Hmm.
at that time. And I've learned that now as an elder and for raising a child. But I think it does limit a child's growth mental growth, like confidence as well. Because it's kind of like, at what point are they going to be okay with standing up for themselves and learning, to ask questions if they're kind of taught not to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just one of those things that you learn in life. Like you learn, okay, this works, this doesn't work. Maybe I should tweak it a little more, or maybe I should do something different. And I think that, had my dad had maybe, let's say he had a son, he had the same technique. That son may have had a more aggressive personality like than mine, and be like, well, I don't care if I get in trouble. I'm gonna ask anyway. But I was more like, I ain't trying to get in trouble. So I'm gonna stay over here and mind my business. Yeah. Were your siblings like? Did they ask a lot of questions too?
I would say my older brother didn't ask questions. I would say I probably was the one to ask the most questions, but I was honestly probably the most well behaved. Not that my siblings were like terrible children, but like like I got in trouble the least. But I just like to understand that that's where it was coming from for me. It wasn't um like second guessing whether you're right or not. I don't think that's what my mind thought. I think I just thought like I want all the information like to go along with whatever you're saying. I just want full understanding. I think that's where I was coming from. Dwayne, he was kind of a mama's boy, so he didn't really talk back. Um, yeah, I really and Shay, I feel like Shay didn't start talking back until she was an adult. Like,
Really? Like an elder?
she didn't talk back. She just more. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe it. Shay was the type that would get like upset and not verbalize her thoughts and feelings. Like she would just go from 0 to 100, no questions in between. Like you might not even know what occurred, but she hot. Okay, she is over there and she is hot. Okay, um, yeah. So I think maybe with age, she's kind of tampered down some of the high uh I don't know, emotions, right? And brought them down by trying to question things and get a better understanding. So I guess that's why I say, she hadn't started asking questions until she was an adult. She just was like, you said what? I'm hot. Like I'm mad. Big mad.
Okay, you know what else I picked up on, and I don't think we've ever talked about it. So you said one time that, kind of like what you're saying now, like your sister, like, there's no in between. She goes from like, 0 to 100, and when she's at 100, she's at 100. I feel like it's because she pick up on the subtleties that you don't pick up on. So, like, somebody may be doing something disrespectful, and you don't miss all the clues. But she has caught every single one of them, and she's like, "Oh, I got it right because I'm able to read in between the lines, and I know exactly what you're trying to say. I'm gonna let you know it's not gonna happen." Like I think I really, because I like, just when I met your sister, talking to her, seeing how she interact, I was like, oh, she get people, like she get the subtlety of somebody's trying to, like, throw shade in her face.
So it's so funny, right? The other day my sister called me because my nephew came over. She has a son, right? And my brother, Dwayne, has a son also, little Dwayne. And so they have a pool, Shay and Eris, where they live. And so I guess little Dwayne called and was like, "Hey, TT, can I come over and play with Eris?" And she was like, "Yeah." So his mom dropped him off or whatever. And so they normally go swimming when little Dwayne comes over. And on this day, she was like, it's hot outside. I'm not going to go sit out at the pool with the sun beaming on me. So we're not going to swim today. And he was like, oh, well, let me call my mama so she can come pick me up. And so he left. Baby, when I tell you she was hot, okay? Because she was like, oh, you didn't actually come to play with Eris. You came to use the
Right.
pool.
Right.
And
Right.
if you couldn't use the pool,
Right.
you didn't want to play, you wanted to go home.
Right.
And I was like, why is she so bothered? And she was truly like upset, like, I'm about to call Big Dwayne and let him know what we're not gonna do. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Crystal. Like I would have took it like that. I would have just been like, okay, whatever, call your mom, matter, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would have took it like that, but I also would have took it like, oh, that's a kid, and kids are not in a bad way, but kids are just selfish. Like, they don't have the same emotions that we have. They are true to themselves. And so I would just like, oh, that's just a kid being a kid, and I'm like, well, what could I expect?
No, she's like, no, lesson will be learned here today.
Right, but that's another side too. Like that's a good learning lesson for him to let him know that hey, TT don't play. And and also as a whole, the bigger picture is that you don't want to be using people for stuff. But
Right. And so it also became a thing that she was like, an heiress. Next time, like I'm telling you, that is an example of her going from, and in this case, she wasn't really asking no questions on this day last week. Because she just saw the whole thing. Oh, this okay. Well, let's fix it right now.
and I can respect a person like that because they live their truth. And it's like I don't fully know everything about your sister, but based on that story, it's kind of like she's not gonna just go start trouble. But if you bring it to her,
That's the thing, right? No, I will say she's not like, very rarely is she the starter of some trouble, right? But she is very, like you said, very perceptive. She's very quick. She is very quick. Her mouth is very quick. Her reaction is very quick.
yeah, yeah, like, and so there are people that are like that. So sometimes, like when you see people that you may see that are going off, like I think it's like ask more questions to yourself and figure it out. Like don't judge a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
Like figure out what is the whole picture, what is the whole truth that's going on in the situation. Because they may not even be the bad guy. They may be the person that's just responding, but you just catch them at the wrong time,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
you didn't get the whole situation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, agreed. Oh my goodness. That is so funny. I never really thought about it like that. But yeah, she's super perceptive. She picks up on everything. She is easily I shouldn't say easily offended, but she sees offense very quickly. Um and she's quick to address it.
Yep. But at the beginning of the story, I feel like you're the opposite of that, right? Like somebody could be flirting with you in your face and you
Absolutely.
don't know. And I'd be like, are y'all flirting? And you be like, girl, no, what's
No,
wrong with you?
that's because that don't be my intention. Like that's what it sounds like. This is not how I see it at all. Um that happens to me quite like, I'll be on the phone with you and picking up Carrington from her camp, right? And the director comes over and he just says hi, how's your day, whatever little small talk he makes, and we laugh about a thing or two, and me and Carrington pull off, and Crystal's like, oh, y'all's flirting. Where?
So all I heard was the ending of it. And the ending of it, that's what caught my attention. I said, what he just said? Like, what y'all doing?
But it was not like legit in my mind, nothing. Wouldn't have thought twice about it. I really wouldn't have. And I think that happens to me often. I wonder if people be thinking I be flirting with them and I legit just be talking.
I believe they do. I think people have probably thought that for a long time because the way that you just like the way that you talk to guys in your mind it just be fun. But for guys, they look at it kind of like as a challenge and as you initiating the flirting.
Hmm.
That's what I think.
Well, I don't be.
Yeah. But then you just walk away. That'd be the funny part.
Yeah,
Like you'd be like, I'm through with you.
well, I was never with you. I just was talking.
Yes, that'd be the funny part. But I have another question for you, right? So my next question is gonna be like, what is something that society does or think or feel, but you don't agree with it? Like you feel like that don't make sense.
Uh, Hold on, my mom is calling. I'm
Okay.
sorry. My mom was calling to tell me that she was taking a nap in case I was trying to call her.
Oh, do you? Okay, so I guess as a side note, do you ever feel like you talk to your mom kind of like um she thinks she grown or whatever, like she can't just be doing what she want to do, she got to check in with me, like I have to help, like how they try to teach you try to talk to your mom like your mom used to talk to you when you were younger, like you just can't be going and doing what you want to do thinking you grown.
Absolutely, my mama and my grandmama and my granddaddy too. How
And
how how y'all ain't nobody here at the house and don't y'all ain't said nothing to nobody where y'all was going, what y'all was gonna do? Because I feel like it wasn't that long ago. I called my grandma, she didn't answer. I called my granddaddy, he didn't answer. And you were somewhere in the midst or on the phone or something. I'm always on the phone with you. But and then I called my sister. Well, you know where they at? Like, and call my auntie. Well, did they say they was going to the store or something today? Why ain't nobody answering? So eventually, oh, I think my brother, so he has a camera set up at their front door and he gets the notifications on his phone. Had my brother check the camera and eventually I think somebody talked to them and they had my grandma had a doctor's appointment and then they went to the grocery store afterwards. Y'all ain't let nobody know. And yes,
girl,
my mother is the same way. But my mother also has at times had health issues. And so that nobody is worried if she doesn't answer the phone, just sleep, girl. Relax. So really that's what those calls are.
so does she tell just you or does she tell everybody?
Well, she usually tells me and maybe my sister. Um, because if she doesn't answer, that's usually they're gonna call me or they're gonna call my sister. Oh, you talked to your mom today?
Girl, you done put a whole APB out on like your grandparents, like in the group chat, like let's get the helicopters going because where y'all at?
Like y'all don't have the right to just not answer the phone. What we doing?
And if
Not
somebody did
that.
you like that, you would have issues.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it the double standard. But it burns me to no end when my mom calls and she be like, "Oh, what you gonna do today? Oh, Carrington going with her dad. Oh, what your plans are?"
I think it's maybe still like for you the parent and like I'm the kid, like I don't have to respond like I used to when I was a kid. Like give me my space in my room. Like I don't need you like managing me as an
Right.
adult. I have my own home, my own everything at this point. Yeah.
I mean, isn't that the true though?
Yeah, and then your parents will be like, "Well, I raised you, so why are you over here trying to tell me what to do?"
You know, I think at this point they have just decided to just to get them off my case, just tell them so they can go on about their business and leave me alone. until they come back again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, usually they just answer.
Okay. But what were we talking about before the call? I don't
What
remember.
were we talking about? I'm so
Unpopular
sorry.
opinion. What is
Oh, yes. So this is so weird. And I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but I shared this thought with somebody and they were like, "Are you crazy?" And this, I don't even know if this actually answers your question, but one thing that I think about, you know how they say, like, you believe in God and the goal is to go to heaven and live forever and, see all your loved ones there. In my mind, and only once out loud to another person, you mean forever, forever, ever? Like, know that I feel like I do want it to stop at some point. Like, I don't want eternity. Eternity. Do you know what eternity is?
yeah, like infinity. So what would you like to have happen? Like what
I
like
think
have
I
you
want
thought
that.
that?
I think I want heaven for a reasonable amount of time
Okay.
and then just be done. Lights out.
Oh, like everybody take permanent naps and
It's done.
hmm,
Is that weird?
no. I enjoy those type of comments, questions, thoughts, because it's kind of like, well, what if, like, what are all these other things? To me, that's how I see you connect to God, by asking questions, by having these experiences, by having these thoughts. Like, things are put in your spirit. When you are truthful with that, answering that question, you're going to get another question that's going to lead you to a different level of connecting with more truth and connecting more with God. And then when you get there, it's going to lead you to another level. So I appreciate that. Like, I may not see it the same way, but I think that's like an interesting point of view.
Because I'll be in church and they say, we're gonna sing and praise and dance all day and we'll be in heaven with our, literally
You
eternity.
sound like you're gonna be tired. Like, I am
That's
tired.
what it feels like. What you're saying when you say eternity.
It makes perfect sense. I get exactly why you would say that. I get exactly why you would say that. Because you like, not you, but if you thinking that far out, you like, if we dancing all day, like, are there water breaks? Like,
Like, heaven is supposed to be a beautiful place, right? Streets paved with gold, all the good things, right? Um, I just don't know that I need to experience anything for eternity. Are you hearing the word? Like,
like forever, forever, ever, forever, ever.
girl. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, I see it as like, one, we're not gonna have bodies. So it's not
Okay.
gonna be, like that. And two, how we think today, we're not gonna have that same thought. Like, we're not even gonna be worried about any of the things. Like, it's not even gonna be like dancing if you're going off of that case. It's not even gonna be like that. We're not gonna think like that. We're not gonna look at stuff like that. We're going to be and have a whole completely different mindset that we can't even comprehend now, because all
Okay.
we can comprehend is what we know, and that's earth. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to be stuff outside of, like, more, I would say, like, more malevolent. What is the word?
Malevolent.
Yes, that
Is that
word.
it? But I don't really know. What does that mean?
Like, okay, so it will be more like divine, more celestial.
Okay.
That's a good word. More celestial, like more like, I see it as though it will be something similar to, like,
Spirits.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
just spirits doing spirit things, which would have nothing to do with what Earth is about at all.
And our human bodies and our human minds, regular minds. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. When you say it like that,
yeah,
you know, it'll be beyond, it's beyond what we could understand
exactly.
right
Yeah,
now. Okay.
yeah. Like
Okay.
now, like, I love being black. I'm like, give me the fro, all of that. Like black won't even be a thing. Like eyes or like by face, earring. Like none of these things will be a thing. Like they just won't even be a thought.
Okay. Okay. Because maybe that is the mindset in which, well, that is the mindset in which I look at it because that's the only one I know, right? Is this physical body. And so I guess maybe the thought of being in the state of this for eternity feels a bit overwhelming.
That's like I can appreciate that though. Because it's realistic, it's thought out. I think most people don't even think that far out. That's why they don't understand what you're saying, because they don't think that far out. Yeah, I think that
And
makes sense.
yeah, and I said that to a minister. I won't say which minister, but I have said that to a minister before, and he was like, "Are you like he just couldn't get over it?"
Like, what did he say about it? Like, realistically, like you're telling the truth. Like,
And he was like, "No, like, oh my God, I can't, I not that I'm trying to rush it, but I cannot wait until, I am with all my loved ones again and we are, singing glory, glory, hallelujah. Like it'll be like I said, singing and praising all day. Like they were genuinely excited. Like, how could you not want that forever? I don't want anything for eternity.
yeah, and I think most people don't think about it because if they did, they would have the same thought that you have.
Okay. So I don't know if that's like an unpopular opinion or anything, but
I'm
um
sure it is because like I said, I doubt the average person would have that same thought.
think about that from time. Like I really, really do. Like I said, especially when I'm in church and pastors really, giving a good word or whatever. I don't know. Anywho, what is your unpopular opinion about something?
So one of my unpopular opinions has to do with what I have on.
What?
Um, the color of the dress. It looks kind
What's
of
the
pink.
dress?
Yeah, it looks kind of pink, but I
It
don't
looks
like.
like blush pink.
Yeah, yeah. You know colors more than I do. I only have like a small color wheel in my head. Um,
Okay.
so I hate the fact that because I have a vagina, I'm supposed to love pink. Who said that? And if I don't love it, then somehow I no longer have a uterus. I hate that.
Ooh.
So it's not that I don't like the color pink. I don't like the expectation that I'm supposed to like it because I'm a woman, because I'm a female. No, if I like it, it's because it has nothing to do with my vagina. It's a color, and it's like society try to make you like it. Even when shopping on websites, it's like, oh, we're gonna have pink if we don't have nothing else for a woman. And I'm like, don't force me to do it. Like I would rather do it because I want, and if I don't, that does not make me less than a woman because I don't. That's how I see it.
Like, do you think all little girls like pink?
No, I think that they are programmed at a young age to like pink. I was having a conversation with someone and they was like, "Oh, my daughter room is going to be like," no, they said, "Oh, my daughter favorite color is going to be pink." I said, "How do you know?" They said, "Cause she a good big girl." Like I said, "What? But how you know what her favorite color gonna be?" And they was like, "Well, I'm hoping that it's gonna be that color." So I mean, she's a girl, so I'm sure that's what it's gonna be. So basically, you're not gonna give your child the option. That's what I heard. I heard you're not gonna give your child the option to like what they like. They have to fall in line to like certain things.
Wow. I don't think I've ever thought about that. And boys' automatic favorite color is gonna be blue, right? That is so interesting.
Mm-hmm. But I
You
think
are adverse to pink because I remember were you and I we were talking about something maybe on the melanated opinion and we were talking about like getting out of our comfort zone with clothes, and I think we were saying like, well, if your guy friend bought you an all pink outfit, you were like, I don't know about that. Do you remember what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
something like that. I don't remember the exact words or how it went, but it's not even against the color pink. It's against except the expectation that, oh, I'm supposed to like it because I'm a woman, and if I don't, I'm not a woman. Like what?
Okay, so that's interesting. So when you said uterus and vagina, I know that like social media has been talking about I don't remember the trans woman's name, but she made a statement and she said womanhood and periods do not belong to cisgendered women. You do not own womanhood. What do you think about that?
I think one, I'm not trying to be insensitive. I don't know what a cisgender woman is.
You were born as a woman, as a with female organs.
Okay, so let me repeat what you just said. So what you say, periods and uterus do not belong to women who were
Periods
born.
and womanhood don't belong to cisgendered women. Like just because you were born a woman, a girl, a female,
With
you don't own womanhood.
the womanhood part is gray for me, but the period part is a definitely yes, I do own it because I didn't have to do anything to get it. I didn't say, "Yep, sign me up for that." Well, you know, yeah. But womanhood, I think womanhood is the like people have gave it a definition of what womanhood looks like. And some of that definition does not necessarily have to do with you being a woman. Like you cooking and cleaning. That's womanhood. That ain't got nothing to do with, what's between your legs. So stuff like that,
Right.
the transgender woman would have a point. But if she's saying things, that has to do with I lactate when I am pregnant and it comes out of like I had no choice in that. Like it belongs to me because I was born like that. I think if it's something you were born with, that's a fact. That is not something that was given to you or a label that was put on you, then you're in that category. If people have put you in a box, it doesn't necessarily belong to you. They have just chosen to make it mentally okay to put you in that box to help the world go around and you don't have to live in that box. See, that's what gets me about social media and society. It's like they take things that are based on facts and based on truths, and then they add an extra that makes it messy, and then makes it just so now it's ridiculous and ludicrous. You have a slight point, but you threw in other things that are based on facts and truth, so now it just seems all crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Um,
what you think?
I think initially, right, when I heard her say that, I thought she's completely loony. Like, for one, you can have this, period. Take it. I don't. I mean, who's asking for this monthly inconvenience, honestly? Um, However, at the same time, it is absolutely part of what makes me a woman, right? All the things that you said, like we give birth to children and our bodies can feed them. That is womanhood. Like it just is a flat out fact, right? Um, but who decided what womanhood was? Meaning like where did that like is that a social construct or whatever they say, right? Because who actually made the determination that this is the definition?
I
And again, not to say I still think she's a bit off, um, Because it almost seems like she's mad at the woman for being a woman. Like, I didn't put nothing on it. I didn't have to put 10 on 20 because I already am it. Like, it just, you know what I mean? And so you, again, and it's almost, you have to be so very careful, right? Because if you say something, you could be considered like transphobic or any of the things, but it just, it just is.
Yep, yep. And just for disclosure's sake, me and you both feel like
Do
y'all do what
you?
y'all want to do. Yeah, it ain't none of our business. We don't care. It don't affect us. It don't phase us. Like, so don't think that we are against the idea or the topic or anything like that. Because me and you are like the least judgmental and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the same time, it's kind of like I don't like the fact that you want to try to force me to do something. Don't try to force me to like think the way that you think and think that you're
Mm-hmm.
right and make me feel less than about myself to make you feel more than about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like some of the struggles with some of these thoughts. But what I did want to say was I think that it's about convenience and what works for a certain group of people. So sometimes it's convenient for me to be like, all women should take care of kids. All women like to take care of kids, and that's your job. And because you're supposed to like it, because you birthed them, you have to enjoy it. So you have to like it. And every single woman, if you don't like birthing and taking care of kids, there's something wrong with you and you're not a real woman. Those
Mm-hmm.
are the things that are implanted in people's mind from this group that, you know, that we allow to have that thought. This invisible group we allow to have that thought. But to me, I feel like it's not right because if a woman does not want to have a kid, she should not be forced to have a kid. If she don't like, taking care of kids or doing whatever,
Especially, you know, don't do, it's not a thing to do um if if you don't want to do it. It is a lifetime commitment.
yeah, absolutely. And if you don't have kids and you want kids, I would suggest going to volunteer at a shelter, excuse me, at an after school program,
Mm-hmm.
take your nieces and nephew for like a weekend, a month, spring break week. Like, put yourself in that situation so you'll know what to expect if you intentionally want kids.
And that's just a taste. Okay. That would just be a taste. You know, I mean, there's so much that you could say about that. There really is. But yes, the expectation for what women are to do with their bodies, because we have the equipment to do it, is is sometimes I think it's not even realistic.
I agree. I think it's not realistic either. And the
It's
part
not
of me,
realistic for everyone.
I agree. And I think for me, the part I have struggles with is that it's usually people who don't have that body who try to tell other people what they should do with the body. And I'm like, let some of the people who feel that way, who have the body, at least speak on your behalf because you don't even have it. Let the people that have the body speak on your behalf if that's their true feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Let them be the one to give the message. You shouldn't be the messenger. And even with that, they still don't have to agree with the messenger. At least it's coming from someone who can fully understand from a woman perspective or a man perspective. Like, I I don't think I can go around telling a man how to be a man because I
Right.
don't know. I don't know. I may have some thoughts and opinions and views of what I like and I don't like, but I can't tell you. All right. Well, I think this has been a great show. A very, very good show.
It's been fun. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We will definitely have to come back. We may have to talk about kids some more because there's a lot more to talk about with that and some of the other things. I really appreciate you sharing your experience and helping other people out to just let them see life differently because some things we can't see. Like you said, you don't know what you don't know. You
Yeah.
can't see some things unless you like see it or hear it from someone else outside of your regular environment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be it for today. And thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'm Crystal, and this is today's Crystal's Light.